Assalamu alaikum brothers and sisters. In this video we'll be talking about 6 major signs that took place in the year 2020 that will give us a good idea about the coming of the Mahdi. Now these 6 signs are very apparent. These are very explicit signs that show the coming of the Mahdi is very near. Rasulullah also mentioned, now before I mention you the 6 major signs that took place in the year 2020 and it will take place in the year 21 and 22 and so on and so forth, I want to mention you the hadith. Rasulullah mentioned, Al-Mahdi minni ajlal jabahati aknal anfi yamlul ard kistal wa adl kama muliyat zawran wa zulm. That Mahdi is from me, he will fill the earth with qist and adl, justice and equity, just like it was filled with kama muliyat zawran wa zulm, just like it was filled with tyranny and oppression. Now the number 1 major sign that we found out that took place already in the year 2020, and it actually is happening for a long time now, which is number 1 is corruption. Now just to give you an idea about the Transparency International, the Corruption Perceptions Index ranks 180 countries and territories by their perceived levels of public sector corruption, according to experts and business people. Now Transparency International is saying that they have countries and territories perceived levels of public sector corruption. But what is important here is that the year's analysis shows corruption is more pervasive in countries where big money can flow freely into electoral campaigns and where governments listen only to the voices of wealthy or well-connected individuals. When we talk about corruption, normally we think about poor country, right? We say, well, this, third world country, they're corrupt. But according to Transparency International, the corruption is more pervasive, it's more elusive in wealthy countries. Subhanallah. And this is happening, dear brothers and sisters, every single day. And this is one of the signs that we found out, not just in 2020, but it had been for a long time, that people are getting more corrupt. And this is the hadith that Rasulullah mentioned, that the earth will be filled with zawran wa zulm. Okay, there will be a lot of tyranny and oppression, and one of the ways people oppress each other is through corrupting other people. Number 2 is rich and poor gap. Now this is the index that was done in the year 2016. Rich and poor gap is widening every day, every week, every month, every year. In 2016 report by Oxfam claims that the 62 wealthiest individuals own as much wealth as the poor half of the global population combined. Subhanallah, like 62 wealthiest individuals, not even person, just 62 people, they own as much wealth as the poorer half of the global population. In 2018, Oxfam report said that the wealth gap continued to widen in 2017, with 82% of global wealth generated going to the wealthiest 1%. Now again, going back to the hadith, we find a clear match here. The coming of the Mahdi and Dajjal, the end of time, will happen when there will be a lot of oppression, injustice, and a lot of inequality will take place, right? So when we talk about the rich and the poor gaps, we find, dear brothers and sisters, we find that this is happening on a daily basis. Number 3 major sign that we also find is that leaders, they will not listen. They will not listen to your need. They will not care about your need. In fact, Rasulullah also, he mentioned in hadith, innakum satarawna ba'di asaratan fasbir hatta talqawni, that after me you will meet leaders who will not listen to you. They will not care about your needs, but be patient. Fasbir hatta talqawni, until you meet me, means until you die. So you have to be patient until your death. So Rasulullah said that these leaders, they will not listen. And if you take a look, dear brothers and sisters, a lot of our leaders, they talk, they only have lip service. They talk a lot of things, they promise a lot of things, but when it comes to fulfilling those promises and listening to people's complaint, they lack. They don't even talk. I mean, if you elect a administration or a government for 5 years, you will never hear from them. And subhanAllah, this is exactly what is happening, that the leaders, they don't listen. And we find it even harder to even approach them. And when the leaders don't listen, Rasulullah he said in the hadith, "Innakum satarawna ba'di asaratan fasbir hatta talqawni," that this is going to be happening after me, which means this is going to be happening when the hour will approach. Just before the hour approach, these things, he said, will take place after me. And we know when he said after me, his coming, the coming of Rasulullah was in itself was a sign of the hour, the coming of the hour. Number 4 is trustworthy MBS, Trump. If you talk about trustworthiness, right? We have, dear sisters, leaders, as I mentioned, Trump or MBS or any leader in the world. In fact, Trump, he has made 16,241 false or misleading claims during his 3 years in office. And this is from Washington Post fact checker. So they have done a fact checking on Trump. They found out. And dear sisters, if you know about the story of Jamal Khashoggi, the journalist, we know that the Saudi government, they did not tell us all the details. They did not reveal us the truth. And dear sisters, this is what is exactly happening, that not just MBS or Trump or one leader or two leader, it is happening widespread. Whenever they talk, they lie. They, as I mentioned in my other point, they will make you give you false promises. They will make false promises, and this is exactly, dear sisters, is happening. And not only just in the leadership level, but also people like individuals, we lie to each other. We cannot trust each other. Trust is lost. And Rasulullah said in a hadith that at the end of the time, people will lose trust. People will lose trust in each other. And this is exactly we are saying, dear sisters, as an individual, in an individual life or at a state life. And the next point that I want to talk to you about is the land of the Arabs. Rasulullah mentioned, and we have seen this many times, that a lot of global warming phenomena taking place. There are a lot of changes in the weather, weather pattern, the way it rains. Rasulullah said, "La taqumu sa'atu hatta," that the hour will not be established until the land of the Arab will turn into muruja wa nahara, that the land of the Arab will turn into spring of water, like it will become flooded. And just imagine yourself, he's talking about a place that is supposed to be what? Dry, right? Barren land. There is no rain there. This is all desert. But he said that the hour will not be established until the land of the Arab, hatta tawd al-ard muruja wa nahara, that the land of the Arab will become muruj and anhar. And the last point that I also want to mention to you, dear sisters, is the coming of the Mahdi will not take place until there will be a fight of son of 3 Khalifa, right? We know this hadith. This is a very clear-cut hadith. And if you take a look at the BP, British Petroleum's annual report, it said that on proved global oil reserve, it says that at the end of 2013, this report was made in the year 2013, Earth has nearly 1.688 trillion barrels of crude, which will last 53.3 years at the current rate of extraction. Okay, so that was done in 2013. So if you add 53 years with 2013, it makes it 2066. So 2066, the oil will run out in Saudi Arabia. And when the oil will run out, it will have consequences. People will fight for whatever they can get. People will be chaotic. Everybody will be fighting for treasure, for their survival. And this will happen before the coming of the Mahdi, dear brothers and sisters. So we find that these phenomena are in place to take place just before the coming of the Mahdi, and these are proven by facts, by hadith, authentic hadith. And dear brothers and sisters, we always want to make sure that we are prepared for the coming of the Dajjal and the Mahdi. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing to my channel, because again we will be talking a lot about this coming phenomena that is taking place of the Mahdi and Dajjal. And inshallah I will see you soon again. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.